Okay, so I'm from University of Torino, and with my friends of the Geodive team, I'm presenting a project related to a full immersion on geodiversity in the Piemonte region. Oh, by the way, presentation will be organized as a summary of a 4-year project. You can see the presentation structure on the left and the keywords of this presentation on the right. This project has been founded by the Compagnia di San Paolo Bank Foundation and has been selected within the European Science Foundation within the Research and Territory program. So, by the way, I will start presenting what I think is important in our region. The important things is related to the biodiversity and geodiversity relationship, and this relationship is for sure related to the role of man in conditioning the development of the territory, either at the hill or at the mountains. And this important concept has been understood well when we started this territorial development of the geodiversity in the region, Piemonte region, because in the Western Alps of European Alps, the relationship with nature and culture is very strong. And so by acting on this relationship, we can understand the basis of the geosystem services offered by nature. Moreover, if we go and see what is other field of this application, either than viticulture, maybe the ornamental stone industry, there is a strong relationship within nature and culture. And in this case, the nature has been modified for taking services by this geodiversity, and the landscape has changed through the whole time of these cultural activities of ornamental stone. Moreover, we can also understand that these dynamics of nature can interfere with the human activities, thus causing hazard and risk in the same region. So we have a complete set of possibility to study in order to assess the geodiversity role in developing this territory. By the way, what we can now say is something about the geomorphological and geological background of our region. Piemonte region is in northwestern Italy, is made of mountains, hills, and large rivers, including the Po River, which is the largest river in Italy. And this diversity of landscape is related also to a diversity of geology. We have a well-developed studies in the geological alpine structure of the Western Alps. Is a very strong and important knowledge, but we lack of a formal knowledge for land planning. Means that scientific studies has not been related in the past to their use in the territory. That's why we propose a method which based on the geodiversity concept introduced by Mary Gray in the ecosystem service approach of abiotic nature. And for doing this, our concept and method will start exactly from the geodiversity, means the total resource of our region. So we understand that by using McKelvey box and the geodiversity concept by Gray, we have to deal with the identified geodiversity, which is the one measured, encoded, mapped, inferred. And also we have to think about conditional geodiversity, the one we are looking for with our inventories, with our research, in order to predict hypothetical geodiversity and speculative geodiversity in that part we don't know really yet. So we apply this concept in our project, and we started with our first working objective, which is enhanced legibility of the information on regional geodiversity produced by earth scientists through data infrastructures. And for doing this, we developed what we call the Ontogenos initiative, which is a kind of Wikigeo a large database, which is semantically based and using controlled vocabularies and a dedicated ontology. So we started using the documentation for understanding what is encoded knowledge in geology, what are the relative contents of this knowledge. For example, we understood that among features, we can see geological features, geomorphological features, unit, structure, and events. We connected all these parts in this ontology framework in order to understand what is shown in what we call the GeoPiemonte map and is related to specific contents that can be enhanced as values of geodiversity. So this GeoPiemonte map, which is published in Piana et al. In Journal of Maps, is an example of a GIS map and a geodatabase referring to a logical model representing the alpine orogeny and the relationship with the geological features. This mapped features has been coherent with the vocabularies of the Geoscience ML initiative by IUGS. So we know now that we have a common framework, so we can move from geodiversity to geoheritage, which means understanding that by means of inventory, by means of mapping, we will explore and assess geodiversity. And that's exactly what we did in our second objective, which is related to the application of a geosystem survey approach to our geodiversity knowledge. So I will show an application about this framework in the Sesia Val Grande UNESCO Global Geopark, which is in the northwestern part of our region. And in this area, we mapped and assessed geodiversity by using qualitative quantitative GIS process, and specifically we investigated the role of geodiversity in conditioning the hydrological resources in this case. So we developed factor maps, we used map algebra according to the method by Zwolinski et al. 2018, and here are some examples of our maps that has been used to assess the hydrogeodiversity. So this is an application at the regional scale, which means we focus on some features that has been conditioned by geology, geomorphology, by condition of the land use, and by the dynamic of this landscape in order to give values to the hydrogeodiversity. This method has been used, and the concept explained in contribution to Water Journal in 2019. And you can see it's a quite complex approach, but you can get the final result and connect to the different geodiversity services like supporting services, regulating services, provisioning services, cultural services, and knowledge services. So these address our planning in some specific relationship between the geological and geological framework to the resources. Then we can go further and we can go apply this concept at the local scale, means understanding ecosystem services and effects of climate change, not only using regional data, means data from databases, but having original field-based and local assessment. And this has been done in the Montrose area, which is one of the most rich area in terms of glacier in our region. And by selection of encoded knowledge, we analyze the geodiversity role in generating geoheritage in this area. So we recognize good and services for local communities eventually exploited within the UNESCO Global Geopark. These two maps has been performed at the edge of the Montrose, and by using this local knowledge on geodiversity, we could understand the role of geoconservation. Means we analyzed each single landform, each single unit, and understood what are eventually the loss, the erosion by natural and human dynamics, the damages coming from the use of this land, in order to propose good management and eventually enhancement of this geoheritage. So by doing this, we can shift to this targeted solution. Targeted solution for promoting geodiversity in this area means understanding the services. For example, in the left picture upper part of the slide, you can see the Indre Glacier. Indre Glacier is a resource for supporting the community with water and eventually hydroelectrical power. So we can understand that this is a relevant resource, and we can go and look at these changes through time. So we made a multi-temporal mapping of this area. And at the bottom of this slide, you can also understand that the dynamic of this geomorphological landscape in terms of instability, in terms of changes, can affect also the human infrastructure, but also the human infrastructure can impact the landscape. So we carefully map all these features, and we understood that we are witness of these changes. We are witness, but we are also contributing to the changes. So we use this image to teach the local park ranger, the local stakeholder, that we look at nature, we witness the transformation of nature, but we can interact with nature itself for preparing the future and managing the future in a proper way. So in this way, we propose a local development of this area, but also we look at the possibility to propose at the regional scale the cultural heritage or other values like ornamental stone. And so we go back to the map. We use the encoded knowledge for proper management of cultural enhancement of the ornamental stone. So we interpreted each single units in terms of lithological contents, geological domain, geological units, but also we linked the petrographic name with the ornamental stone name. We understood the possibility to use this information for enhancing the management of the historical quarries, and also connecting the places where this heritage has been promoted in terms of buildings, in terms of cultural heritage. And the example is the one for the Fenestrelle Fortress in the Cochan Alps, where the same rock that are outcropping in this area has been used and mapped not only on the field but also on the building, testifying this important relationship with nature and culture. So we can say that all this knowledge that we organized, we mapped, we enhanced, can be now be communicated with outreach activities. And that's the fourth step of our project. By spreading knowledge on cultural heritage, we created events like technical skill for park rangers has been explained in the technical session. We made events for cultural promotion, educational activities, either at the local and the international scale. So we connected different geopark. Few minutes ago, we saw the presentation by people from the Rocqua Geopark. We twinned our experience with Rocqua Geopark. We made international exchanges. So by giving training and acknowledgement and conservation of cultural landscape to environmental manager, teacher, student, we started what we call an adaptive learning processes on geodiversity. Means that rather than imposing a fixed set of rule for management, we promoted the enhancement and the knowledge in order that people, local people, could be the leader of this knowledge. And finally, we can use these opportunities in multiple UNESCO designation in Piemonte, either in the Alps or in the hills. And by doing this, we will be able to promote the proper management of this region under the UNESCO district, which is very important for our region. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you a lot, Marco, for your wonderful talk. So we have had some questions from Professor Paulo Pereira. So Marco, what kind of geodiversity mapping did you perform to support the geodiversity geoheritage comparison? I think that the quantitative assessment of geodiversity doesn't reflect the geoheritage of a certain area or region. What do you think?
I think that the geodiversity assessment by qualitative, quantitative methods can be useful for addressing the further analysis of local geoheritage. Means that you address the attention to a specific topic. For example, hydrogeodiversity, we understood that the relationship with hydrogeodiversity has to be focused in certain area where there is the coexistence of different factors. In that area, we then went there and mapped directly the geoheritage. But we addressed the attention of planners to an area which has been not adequately analyzed in the past.
Okay. And he has a second question. By the way, are these complex assessments approaches easy to be performed, and can then be used in a land use perspective?
Yes, that's exactly our goal. In the future, we would like to confront with other people working around the world. For example, in geoparks, we understand that if there will be a kind of a procedure from regional to local, there will be also possibility to propose development policies, good practices that is based on this knowledge organized like we have shown in our project. This way, there will be possibility to demonstrate that it's better to organize knowledge in advance according to international standard and then to propose solution. This solution will be measurable at the international scale.
Okay. Okay. So thank you again, Marco. Thank you for being part of this conference.